Hey y'all, welcome to the Southern Appalachian Herbal Podcast. I'm Judson Carroll and I'm an herbalist. I'm also a wild crafter, a gardener, and herb grower. I'm coming to you from high atop the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, just a stone's throw from the Tennessee line, overlooking the Pisgah National Forest. Absolutely surrounded by the bounty of God's green earth. I spent most of my life wandering these mountains and learning about plants from the old timers and all sorts of characters. On this show, we'll talk about herbs and how to use them, how to find them, how to grow them, how to make preparations. We'll talk about a lot of things. We can also talk about permaculture, homesteading, foraging, and living off the land. Most anything, really. You can email me at southernappalachianherbs@gmail.com if you have a question or a comment. You can also contact me through the Grow Network, where I'm a regular contributor and a moderator for the forums. And my blog is, of course, southernappalachianherbs@blogspot.com. All right, y'all. I'm going to sit my guitar down and let's talk about herbs. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the show. This week, we're going to discuss the medicinal herbal uses of grasses. Now, I know this may come as a surprise. After all, I've been fairly disparaging of grass in the past, and by which I mean your ornamental grasses, specifically your lawn grasses. That's the Poaceae family. Those grasses really do not have much medicinal use or edible use or anything, okay? So I'm not really talking about those grasses. There are many, many grasses that do. And last week's show was so well received on thistles, and I just got a lot of great feedback. And the herbalist Tori that I interviewed a few weeks ago on homeopathy, she said, this was a great subject. I need to look more into grasses and see what their medicinal uses are. And I thought, well, so do I. I don't know a whole lot about grasses beyond couch grass. So that got me doing some research and searching around. And I found a lot of medicinal grasses. All right, so officially there are 300 minimum, 300 minimum, probably more than that, grasses that are either useful for food or medicine. Now let that sink in. 300 minimum. I went through them and I just made notes on medicinal uses. And these are some really fascinating plants. And, we need to kind of, just like where there are a lot of plants that are called thistles, but they're not all official thistles, there are a lot of plants in the grass family that you may not even think really of being grass. Corn is a grass. Oats are a grass. These are just grasses with larger seeds that we use as grains. And then there's, everything from the crabgrass, as a royal pain in your yard, to the, Kentucky bluegrass fescue and all that. So grasses are huge and varied. Even bamboo, timber bamboo that grows 70 feet tall and you can actually build houses and bridges out of, and has wonderful wonderful edible shoots. It's a grass. It's just a really big grass. So I guess I'm going to get right into this because it's a big topic. I actually have 11 pages of notes. So I'm not going to read them all to you verbatim, of course, but bear with me and feel free to, take some notes. And I will save my notes. And if you need a copy of them, I'll email them to you. Just ask me for them. Remember, my blog is southernappalachianherbs.blogspot.com. I've got tons of articles on there. I write an herbal article every single week. So I've got a huge backlog of articles on medicinal herbs. And the new book, The Herbs and Weeds of Father Johannes Künzle, you can buy it off of the blog. I hope you will. And I'm going to have a link in the show notes. I'll do that for a while. I'm actually going to have another book coming out soon. So, hey, if you like the first one, just get ready for the second one. This one's really exciting. I'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks. All right, so grasses. All right, we're just going to kind of go in alphabetical order of the Latin names. but I'm going to give you the common names where I can. All right, so the first one we're going to get into is a foxtail. Now, foxtails are often considered to be somewhat of a nuisance, but this one is a really important medicinal herb, as a lot of these. This one is called shorthorn foxtail or Alopecorus equalis. The whole plant is antiphlogistic. Now, what that means is it reduces a fever and it's specifically for inflammatory fever. Um, that hot inflammation, it can be a fevered area, like where you have a wound in an area and it gets all hot, or it can also help with just regular fevers. It's depurative and diuretic, and it's used in the treatment of edema, chickenpox, and snake bites. The next one, big blue stem. That's Andropogon Girardii. The plant is analgesic, carminative, and diuretic. All right, that means it reduces pain, it helps with indigestion, and pulls off fluids. A decoction of the root is used in the treatment of stomach aches and flatulence. A tea made from the leaves is used as a wash to relieve fevers and general debility. Always good to have remedies for general debility. So that's one of your old-fashioned remedies for general debility. And the next one is the herb, the grass, broom sedge. Now, the broom sedges are a large family. This is blue stem, bloom sedge, blue stem, broom sedge, blue stem. That's Andropogon virginicus. That's one that is native to the Americas. Virginicus means it's found in Virginia, or was first identified there. Decoction of the roots is used in the treatment of backaches. A tea made from the leaves is used in the treatment of diarrhea. Externally, it is used as a wash for frostbite, sores, itching, piles, poison ivy rashes. Another very useful grass. Sweet vernal grass. That is Anthoxanthum odoratum. Now, odoratum means it has a sweet smell. Probably smells a lot like sweetgrass. The whole plant, and especially the flowering stems, are anticoagulant, antispasmodic, and stimulant. Normally applied externally where it is used in the treatment of rheumatic pains, chilblains, nervous insomnia, etc. It is said that a tincture made from this grass with a spirit of wine is an effective and immediate cure for hay fever. Now, how cool is that? A lot of our allergies are caused by grass pollens, and here's a grass that can cure hay fever. I'm going to get some of this growing as soon as possible. And and some of these grasses do have what you call a sudorific or even a hypnotic effect. Some of them they'll relax your muscles, make you sleepy. Some of them are even mild narcotics, believe it or not. Another one is cane reed. That is Arundinaria gigantea. That just means big arundinaria. That's usually like a cane, by the way, what we would call like a switch cane or river cane. Um, anyway, the root is cathartic. A decoction has been used to stimulate the kidneys and renew strength. Great one to have around. Giant reed, that's a Rundodonax. The root is diuretic, emollient, and galactagogue. No, I'm sorry, galactifuge on that one. Now, of course, diuretic means it helps you get rid of the fluids. Emollient means it's softening to the tissues. Galactifuge means it reduces milk production. And infusion is said to stimulate menstrual discharge and diminish milk flow. Paste of the root is applied to the forehead to treat headaches. Isolated alkaloids have been used experimentally and shown to raise the blood pressure and contract the intestine and uterus. The rhizome or rootstock is used in the treatment of dropsy. Boiled in wine with honey, the root or rhizome have been used for treating cancer. This plant contains the alkaloid gramine. This is said to be a vasopressor, raising the blood pressure in dogs in small doses, causing a fall in larger doses. The stems have been used as spirits for broken limbs. No, the stems have been used for sprints and broken limbs. Got a little typo there. I'm not sure why you'd want to raise the blood pressure in dogs, but if it works on dogs, it probably works on people too. So, hey, there you go. Again, that was um, Arundodonax or giant reed. So they're saying the reeds could be used for splints. Wild oats, we use oat straw in so many ways in herbal medicine. It's relaxing, it's calming, it'll help you sleep, it's good for stress. Wild oats, specifically, the seeds are diuretic, emollient, and refrigerant. Hungarian oat, um, seeds are also diuretic, emollient, but this one is refrigerant, which means it's cooling. And then oats in general, which is Avena sativa, used mainly as a food, of course, but in particular, oats are very nutritious. They are gently restore vigor, just a restorative, tonic restorative after debilitating illnesses, helps lower cholesterol and increase stamina. The seed is nutritive and the herb is antispasmodic, cardiac, diuretic, emollient, nervine, and stimulant. The seed contains anti-tumor compound B-systole and has been used as a folk remedy for tumors. A gruel made from the ground seed is used as a mild food that is nutritious and useful in ailments and inflammations and fevers. Should be avoided in cases of dyspepsia accompanied with acidity of the stomach. A tincture of the ground seed is used as a nervine and uterine tonic. A decoction strained into the bath will help soothe itchiness and eczema. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten that. Oats are really good for itchy skin. Poultice made from the ground seed is used in the treatment of eczema and dry skin. When consumed regularly, oat germ reduces blood cholesterol levels. Oat straw and the grain are prescribed to treat general debility and a wide range of nervous conditions. They are of particular value in helping a person cope with exhaustion that comes from multiple sclerosis, chronic neuralgic pains, and insomnia. Oats are thought to stimulate nervous energy to help relieve insomnia. An alcohol extraction of oats has been reported as a deterrent for smoking, although reports that oat extract help correct the tobacco habit have been disproven. Tincture of the plant is used as a nerve stimulant and to treat opium addiction. Um, let's see. Yeah, so oats, incredibly useful, obviously. Water whorlgrass, Cattabrosa aquatica. A decoction of the plant has been used as a stimulant and tonic. Scurvy grass is one that was used to be very important in Europe when sailors would go on long journeys or people just didn't have fresh food in the winter. They would get scurvy. Scurvy is caused by a lack of vitamin C. Scurvy grass, there are maybe three or four in that category, are grasses that are edible and contain high levels of vitamin C. It's called antiscorbutic. So scurvy grass is antiscorbutic, aperient, disinfectant, diuretic, and stimulant. The plant was highly valued by sailors in the past and taken in their diet daily as a prevention for scurvy on long sea trips. Applied externally, the bruised leaves are used to heal ulcers. It is best used when fresh, though it can be harvested in the late spring or early summer and dried for later use. All right, another one that you may have seen as an ornamental is called Job's Tears. Yeah, the Latin name's hard to pronounce. It's Coix. So Coix, I don't know. Lacrima Jobi. Well, so that means Coix, Job's tears, tears of Job. Um, the fruits are anodyne, anti-inflammatory, antipyretic, antiseptic, antispasmodic, hypoglycemic, hypotensive, sedative, and vermifuge. That's a powerful herb. That's a lot going on there. The fruits are used in folk remedies for abdominal tumors, esophageal, gastrointestinal, and lung cancers, various tumors, as well as warts and whitlows. The folk reputation is all the more interesting when reading that one of the active components of the plant, here's that word again, Coixenolide, coixenoloid, has anti-tumor activity. Wow. The seed with the husk removed is anti-rheumatic, diuretic, pectoral, refrigerant, and tonic. Tea from the boiled seed is drunk as part of a treatment to cure warts. It is also used in the treatment of lung abscesses, appendicitis, rheumatoid arthritis, beriberi, diarrhea, edema, and difficult urination. The plant has been used in the treatment of cancer. The roots have been used in the treatment of menstrual disorders. A decoction of the root has been used as an anthelmintic. The fruit is harvested when ripe in the autumn, and the husks are removed for using fresh, roasted, or fermented. So that's a very important herb. I mean, anything that has anti-cancer potential is something we really need to pay attention to. Bermuda grass is something we get a whole lot around here. That's Cynodon dactylon. Bermuda grass is reported to be alterative, anabolic, antiseptic, aperient, astringent, cyanogetic, demulcent, depurative, diuretic, emoliate, sudorific, and vulnerary. Wow. Okay, so that's healing up wounds. Anabolic means it increases mass. It increases. It's a growth stimulator, if you want to look at it that way, like an anabolic steroid would. Demulcent, depurative, I mean, this is just really good for wounds and cuts. Anyway, a decoction of the root uses diuretic in the treatment of dropsy and secondary syphilis. And infusion of the root is used to stop bleeding from piles. The juice of the plant is astringent when applied externally to fresh cuts and wounds. When mixed with the powder of a clove, it is used as an anthelmintic. Internally, it is used in the treatment of chronic diarrhea and dysentery. It is useful in the treatment of catarrh. The juice is diuretic and used in the treatment of dropsy. The leaf juice has also been used in the treatment of hysteria, epilepsy, and insanity. The plant is a folk remedy for let's see, cancer, carbuncles, convulsions, cough, cramps, cystitis, diarrhea, dropsy, dysentery, epilepsy, headache, hemorrhage, hypertension, hysteria, insanity, kidneys, laxative, measles, rubella, snake bite, sores, stones, tumors, urogenital disorders, warts, and wounds. Wow. Now, if that isn't a medicine cabinet in a plant, I don't know what is. Holy cow. And that's Bermuda grass, which most people think is a nuisance. So the next one is nutgrass. This is Cyperus rotundus. Now, nutgrass in, well, where I grew up is really considered an absolute nuisance. I mean, eastern part of North Carolina grows a lot of peanuts, and this is the one that just gets into the peanut fields, and you spend half your life trying to get it out. But it's a very important herb. This is in the sedge family, which is often considered a grass. Nutgrass is a pungent, bittersweet herb that relieves spasms and pains, acting mainly on the digestive system and uterus. The roots and tubers are analgesic, antibacterial, antispasmodic, antitussive, aromatic, astringent, carminative, diaphoretic, diuretic, emmenagogue, sedative, skin stimulant, no, sedative, skin soothing, stimulant, stomatic, tonic, and vermifuge. They are used internally in the treatment of digestive problems and menstrual complaints. They are commonly combined with black pepper, that's Piper nigrum, in the treatment of stomach aches. The roots are harvested in the summer or winter and dried for later use. An essential oil in the tumors has antibiotic activity and has been shown to arrest the growth of Micrococcus pyogenes. It's a bacteria. The plant is rated eighth amongst 250 potential anti-fertility plants in China. The plant is used in the treatment of cervical cancer. Now that is a common weed that people have spent centuries trying to eradicate in the American South. And it, I mean, look at all those properties. I mean, antitussive means it stops a cough. Well, it helps soothe the cough. I mean, treatment of cervical cancer. Antibiotic. I mean, here we are tearing up an antibiotic as a weed. That's amazing. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. Another common grass is cocksfoot or Dactylus glomerata, Dactylus glomerata. Um, it's reported to be estrogenic. This plant is a folk remedy for treating tumors, kidneys, and bladder ailments. A lot of the grasses are good for kidney stones and bladder ailments, gravel as they used to call it. Crabgrass. Now there's another absolute nuisance, right? Well, a decoction of crabgrass has been used in the treatment of gonorrhea. It's also a folk remedy for cataracts and debility and said to be emetic. That was crabgrass digitaria sanguinalis. Millet. Now, millet's a common grain. Barnyard millet, or I'm going to go with barnyard millet because I actually cannot pronounce that one. Echinoclola cruis galli. I'm going with barnyard millet. Reported to be preventative and tonic. Barnyard grass is what's commonly called. is a folk remedy for treating carbuncles, hemorrhages, sores, spleen trouble, cancer, and wounds. The shoots and/or roots are applied as a styptic to wounds. The plant is tonic, acting on the spleen. Barnyard grass. Wow. Japanese millet, which has that same word I can't pronounce. It's known to be useful in the treatment of biliousness and constipation. Finger millet. The seed is astringent and tonic and cooling. It is used in the treatment of kidneys, biliousness, and hepatitis. The leaf juice has been given to women in childbirth, and the plant is reported to be diuretic, and vermifuge. The plant is a folk remedy for treating leprosy, liver disease, measles, pleurisy, pneumonia, and smallpox. Wow, millet. Who would know? All right, wiregrass, another one of those just really, I don't know if you call it invasive, you just call it weedy, frustrating plants. Wiregrass is Eleusine indica. Whole plant, but especially the root, is sudorific and febrifuge. It is also used in the treatment of liver complaints. Couch grass, now see, this was the only one I was really familiar with before I started my research. That's Elytrigia repens. Elytrigia repens. Couchgrass is of considerable value as an herbal medicine. The roots are very useful in the treatment of a wide range of kidney, liver, and urinary disorders. They have a gentle remedial effect, which is well tolerated by the body and has no side effects. This plant is also a favorite medicine of domestic cats and dogs who often eat quite large quantities of the leaves. The roots are antiphlogistic, aperient, emulsant, diuretic, emollient, lithotropic, and tonic. They are harvested in the spring and dried for later use. A tea made from the roots is used in cases of urinary incontinence and as a worm expellent. It is also an effective treatment for urinary tract infections such as cystitis and urethritis. It protects the urinary tubules against infections and irritants and increases the volume of urine, thereby diluting it. Externally, it is applied to as a wash to swollen limbs. Often, couch grass and parsley are combined to get rid of, kidney stones and gravel and all that. Obviously, a very useful herb. It's just odd to me that people kind of forgot about the other ones for a while. I was looking back at some of the really old herbals, and there are a few grasses listed, but the more I looked, the more I found. Cotton grass, Eriphorum angustifolium. The leaves and roots are considerably astringent and have been used in the past as a treatment for diarrhea. Some Native North American Indian tribes would eat the stems raw in order to restore good health to people who are in generally poor health. Whitlow grass, it kind of indicates what it's used. The plant is astringent and vulnerary and useful in the treatment of whitlows. All right, let's see. Goosegrass. Goosegrass is actually in the madder family. Goosegrass has a long history. Let me give you a Latin name real quick. That is Gallium aparine. Goosegrass has a long history of domestic and medicinal use and is also used widely by modern herbalists. A valuable diuretic, it is often taken to treat skin problems such as seborrhea, eczema, and psoriasis, and is used as a general detoxifying agent in serious illnesses such as cancer. The whole plant, excluding the root, is alterative, antiphlogistic, aperient, astringent, depurative, diuretic, febrifuge, tonic, and vulnerary. It is harvested in May and June as it comes into flower and can be used fresh or dried for later use. It is used both internally and externally in the treatment of a wide range of ailments, including its poultice for wounds, ulcers, and many other skin problems, and as a decoction for insomnia in cases where a strong diuretic is beneficial. It has been shown to benefit in the treatment of glandular fever, ME, tonsillitis, hepatitis, cystitis, etc. The plant is often used as part of a spring tonic drink with other herbs. Tea made for the plant has traditionally been used internally and externally in the treatment of cancer. One report says it is better to use the juice of the plant rather than a tea. The effectiveness of this treatment has never been proved or disproved. A number of species of this genus contain asparagoloside, a substance that produces coumarin and gives the scent of new mown hay as the plant dries. Asparagoloside can be converted into prostaglandins, hormone-like compounds that stimulate the uterus and affect blood vessels, making the genus of great interest to the pharmaceutical industry. A homeopathic remedy has been made from this plant. So, goosegrass, again, medicine cabinet and a plant. All right, next we have grass leaf daylily, Hemerocalus minor. It is anodyne, diuretic, febrifuge. The juice of the roots is an effective antidote in cases of arsenic poison. Wow. The root also has folk history in the use of the treatment of cancer. Extracts from the root have shown anti-tumor activity. A tea made from the boiled roots is used as a diuretic. Here's one called holy grass. This is Hierocholi. That cannot be the way you pronounce that. Hierochloe odorata. I'm going to go with holy grass. A tea made from the leaves is used in the treatment of fevers, coughs, and sore throats, chafing, and venereal infections. It is also used to stop vaginal bleeding and to expel afterbirth. The stems can be soaked in water and used to treat windburn and chapping and as an eye wash. Some caution is advised when using this plant internally. Smoke from the burning leaves has been inhaled in the treatment of colds. All right, now we're going to get into the barley. All right, barley is that wonderful grain we make beer from. And that one, well, I would call that one holy, but we'll call it the beer plant. All right, this is Hordeum distichon. You know, I can read Latin, but it's hard to speak because as a what they call a dead language, you don't have it spoken, you don't hear it spoken very often. So I'm just sounding those out as most people would. All right, so barley is a grain, obviously excellent for food, but it's also especially good as a porridge for people who are sick and weak. It's soothing to the throat and provides easily assimilated nutrients. It can be taken to clear catarrh, that's congestion. It's demulcent. The demulcent properties soothe inflammation of the gut and urinary tract. It is commonly given to children suffering minor infections or diarrhea and is particularly recommended as a treatment for feverish states and in catarrhal affections of the respiratory and urinary organs. Main to a poultice, the seed is an effective remedy for soothing and reducing inflammation, sores, and swellings. Modern research has shown that barley may be of aid in the treatment of hepatitis, while other trials have shown that it may help control diabetes. Barley bran may have the effect of lowering blood cholesterol levels and preventing bowel cancer. And as usual, a lot of my notes come from the Plants for the Future. By the way, I want to give credit where credit is due. Um, I went through a lot of books for this, but yeah, probably the bulk of it is coming from Plants for the Future. Let's see, another variety of barley, Ordium vulgare. These are wild barley. All right, medicinal uses. The shoots are diuretic. The seeds and sprouts are demulcent, expectorant, and galactifuge, lentive, and stomatic. They are used in the treatment of dyspepsia caused by cereals, infantile lactodyspepsia, regurgitation of milk, and breast distension. They are best not given to nursing mothers so they can reduce milk flow. The seed is digestive, emollient, nutritive, febrifuge, and stomatic. Taken internally as a nutritious food or as barley water. Now, barley water was one of the favorite remedies of Hippocrates, and this unimproved barley was probably exactly what he was using. Um, it is especially good for babies and invalids. It is said to reduce lactation, though, but that's good in cases of excessive lactation. Barley is also used as a poultice for burns and wounds. The plant has a folk history of anti-tumor activity. The germinating seed has a hypoglycemic effect preceded by hyperglycemic action. Modern research has shown that barley may be of aid in the treatment of hepatitis. Other trials have showed that it may help control diabetes. Barley bran may have the effect of lowering blood cholesterol levels and preventing bowel cancer. So, the wisdom of the ancients is proving true again. Hydrilla, that's also surprisingly in the grass family. Oh, let's see, Hydrilla verticulata, used in treatments of abscesses, boils, and wounds, especially if there's debris in the wound. A dried powder of the plant is applied to cuts and wounds to help accelerate healing. Kanyan grass, which is Imperator cylindrica. Flowers and roots are antibacterial, diuretic, febrifuge, sialagogue, styptic, and tonic. The flowers are used in the treatment of hemorrhages and wounds. They are decocted and used to treat urinary infections, fevers, and thirst. The root is astringent, diuretic, emollient, hemostatic, restorative, and tonic. It is used in the treatment of nosebleeds, edema, and jaundice. Um, let's see. The root has an antibacterial action against Staphylococcus and Bacillus dysenteriae. Wow. A decoction of the root is used as an anthelmintic and also used to treat digestive disorders such as indigestion, diarrhea, and dysentery. The root of the bark is febrifuge, restorative, and tonic. Extracts of the plant have shown virucidal and anti-cancer activities. Amazing. So next we get into peppergrass, narrow-leaved peppergrass, Lepidium ruderale. The plant is used in the treatment of impetigo. An aqueous extract of the plant causes a drop in blood pressure and depressed respiration. Not reparations, respiration. Wild peppergrass, Lepidium virginicum. The leaves of wild peppergrass are nutritious and generally detoxifying. They have been used to treat vitamin C deficiencies and diabetes and to expel intestinal worms. The herb is also diuretic and a benefit in easing rheumatic pain. North American Indians use bruised fresh plant or a tea made from the leaves to treat poison ivy rash and scurvy. A poultice of the leaves was applied to the chest for the treatment of croup. The seed is anti-asthmatic, antitussive, cardiotonic, and diuretic. It is used in the treatment of cough and asthma and excessive phlegm, edema, and liquid accumulation in the thoracoabdominal cavity. A poultice of the bruised roots has been shown to draw out blisters. The root is used to treat excessive cataract in the respiratory tract. So that's a great lung herb right there. And that's just one of our wild grasses that was first discovered in Virginia. Giant wild rye. Now, again, we're getting to one of the grains that we would normally eat, like rye bread. Lamus condensatus. A decoction or infusion of the leaves has been used as a wash for sore eyes. The dried flowers have been used to scrape pimples from the underside of the eyelid. Well, that's interesting because that can be very painful. I've never had it myself, but several people have told me that can be very irritating and painful. Perennial ryegrass. That's often, I believe, used as a cover crop around here more than anything else. The plant has occasionally been used in the treatment of cancer, diarrhea, hemorrhages, and malaria. Darnel is another pretty common one. That's Lolium timulentum. The seed is anodyne and sedative. It is not actually a seed, but a fungus that is often found on the seed that has medicinal properties. Oh boy, we could get into ergot and all that. Maybe we'll do that another time. Ergot's a fungus that occurs on certain grains, which actually does have some medicinal qualities, but it's also a natural form of LSD, and it's responsible for a lot of old visions and legends in ancient Europe. All right, so next we have Eulalia. Eulalia, let's see. This is Miscanthus sinensis, so I'm assuming this originated in China. The use of young stems is used to disperse poisons, dissolve blood clots, dissipate extravasated blood, and remove inflammation. The plant is diuretic and refrigerant. Snake needlegrass. Well, that's a neat name. Oldenlanthia diffusa. Snake needlegrass is a pleasant tasting, cooling alternative herb that lowers fevers, reduces inflammation, relieves pains, and is diuretic and antibacterial. It acts mainly on the liver and also stimulates the immune system. The whole plant is alternative, anodyne, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, anti-tumor, cardiotonic, depurative, diuretic, febrifuge, and sedative. Wow. Another one I need to get growing. It's also in the madder family. You know, we've several of these have been madders that are very good for you. The plant is harvested in the summer and dried for later use. It is taken internally for the treatment of fevers, coughs, asthma, and jaundice, impure blood, urinary tract infections, acute appendicitis, biliousness, and cancers of the digestive tract. Externally, it is used as a treatment for snake bites, boils, abscesses, and severe bruising. Wow, so be sure to take note of that one. Snake needle grass. European millet is Panicum miliacum. It is cooling and demulcent. The cooked seed is applied as a poultice for abscesses and sores. Juice of the seeds is applied to children's sores. The seed is also incinerated and mixed with oil and then used as a poultice that is said to heal sores without leaving a scar. Wow. A decoction of the root is used as an anodyne for poisoning and is also used for to treat hematuria in women and as a bath for skin eruptions. All right, here's one you probably heard of before: Grassus parnassus, Parnassia palustris. The whole plant is astringent, slightly diuretic, sedative, tonic, vulnerary. A decoction is occasionally used as a mouthwash in the treatment of stomatitis. The dried and powdered plant can be sprinkled on the wounds to aid the healing process. The plant is harvested in the summer and autumn and can be dried for later use. A distilled water from the plant is an excellent astringent eye lotion. All right, we're still in the millets. This is pearl millet. The plant is appetizer and tonic. It is useful in the treatment of heart disease, and the fruits have been rubbed on facial pimples in order to get rid of them. Yeah, a little pimple cure there in a millet. All right, common reeds. The leaves are used in the treatment of bronchitis and cholera. The ash of the leaves is applied to foul sores. Tox of the flowers is used in the treatment of cholera and food poisoning. The ashes are styptic, that means they stop bleeding. The stem is antidote, antiemetic, antipyretic, and refrigerant. The root is antitussive, depurative, diuretic, febrifuge, lithotropic, sedative, sialagogue, stomatic. It is taken internally for the treatment of diarrhea, fevers, vomiting, and coughs, and thick, dark phlegm, lung abscesses, urinary tract infections, and food poisonings, especially from seafood. Wow. Externally, it is mixed with gypsum and used to treat halitosis and toothache. The root is harvested in the autumn and juiced or dried for use in decoctions. Wow. Common reed. That was Phragmites australis. And hey, anything that helps with food poisoning from bad seafood, you want to have that around. Because trust me, I've had that before and it will wreck you. It can be a little dangerous with my food consumption. Anyway, Moso Chiku. Now, this is obviously a Chinese herb. It's in the Phyllostachys. This is one of your bamboos. The leaves are used in the treatment of arthritic inflammation. The sheaths and stem are used in the treatment of nausea and sour stomach. Black bamboos are beautiful. Look, if you're going to grow a an ornamental bamboo and you're willing to put up with the threat of it spreading, I mean, you really have to keep trimming those stolons. So the right word. You know how grasses spread. You have to keep trimming it back and cutting it back. I mean, if you're going to have one, black bamboos are just absolutely gorgeous. This is, of course, Phyllostachys nigra. The leaves are antipyretic and diuretic. They're used internally in the treatment of fevers, especially infantile convulsions, vomiting, and nosebleeds. The leaves are harvested during the growing season and dried for later use. The juice of the stems is antipyretic, antitussive, expectorant, and sedative. It is taken internally in the treatment of lung infections with cough and phlegm. The sap is pressed from young stems in the summer and then dried for later use. The epidermis of the stem is antiemetic, depurative, and sedative. It is used internally in the treatment of vomiting, nosebleeds, and coughs. The epidermis is collected from young stems in the summer and dried for later use. The root is astringent, antipyretic, diuretic, and styptic. It has been used in the treatment of rabies. The roots are harvested in the winter and dried for later use. So that's a beautiful ornamental bamboo that really good first aid, especially if you have kids and lung problems. And let's see, there are three other bamboos that have the same properties as what I just listed. They're all Phyllostachys nigra. They're all black bamboos, but they are, let's see, just plain nigra, nigrohinensis, and punctata. So your black bamboos are highly medicinal. All right, then we got to Pogantherium crintium. I don't even have a common name for that one. The whole plant is depurative, diuretic, and febrifuge, a decoction used in the treatment of urinary tract infections, fevers due to influenza, jaundice, and edema. All right, now back to more common ones in our area. We have willow grass. This is Polygonum. That means it's more in the buckwheat family. Yeah, it is in the buckwheat family, and those are always useful. So this one, the whole plant, but especially the root, is astringent and depurative. An infusion of the leaves and stems has been used in the treatment of stomach pains with children with diarrhea. The root has been eaten raw. Infusion of the dried root and pounded roots used in the treatment of chest colds. A poultice of the fresh root has been applied directly to the mouth to treat blisters. Annual beard grass is also in the buckwheat family. That's Polypogon monspeliensis. Monspeliensis. An infusion of the plant ashes has been used in the treatment of heart palpitations. All right, let's see. Let's skip ahead to some of our more common American ones or North American ones, European ones. I know a lot more about European and American herbs than I do Chinese herbs. Um, Here's foxtail millet. This is Setaria italica, means it originated in Italy. The germinated seed of yellow-seeded cultivars is astringent, digestive, emollient, and stomachic. It is used in the treatment of dyspepsia, poor digestion, and food stagnancy in the abdomen. White seeds are refrigerant and used in the treatment of cholera and fever. Green seeds are diuretic and strengthening to virility. Wow. So you got to look for your foxtail millet and find out exactly what color the seed is. And you can have anything from helping digestion and getting rid of dyspepsia to lowering a fever or stimulating virility. Brings us to our next one, which is green bristlegrass, which is Setaria viridis. I mean green. The seed is diuretic, emollient, febrifuge, refrigerator, and tonic. The plant is crushed and mixed with water and then used as an external application in the treatment of bruises. Oh, this is one of my favorites, Ciceritium, Bermuda blue-eyed grass. This is a nice, it's a pretty plant in the iris family. The root is astringent, and infusion is used to treat diarrhea in adults and children. The leaves are eaten and cooked as a green to regulate the bowels. An infusion of the plant has been used to treat stomach complaints and stomach worms. Yeah, that's a nice one just to have in the landscape. It's got a few uses. Good old sorghum. I mean, we grow a ton of sorghum in the South. Um, Decoction of the seeds is demulcent and diuretic. It is used in the treatment of kidney and urinary complaints. The inflorescence is astringent and hemostatic. That's the flower. The flower is astringent and hemostatic. All right, so smuck grass, which sounds awful, but is actually fairly uh, useful. It's Sporobolus indicus. The plant is used to enrich the blood, reduce swellings, and correct gonorrhea. It is considered to be an anti-fertility drug in some countries. This is one of the where we start getting into some of the interesting ones. Sleepy grass. Now, what would you think sleepy grass does? Well, it does exactly what it says. It's Stipa veseli. The plant is hypnotic. It is used for inducing sleep. So that is literally a grass in the grass family that you can grow to induce sleep. Green needlegrass, which is Stipta viridula, is also the same kind of category. This plant has a narcotic effect on the spinal cord and brain. Well, that means it's not only going to make you sleepy, but can help with pain. One called water soldier is Stratiotes aloides, and this herb has a high reputation for treating wounds, especially when these are made by an iron implement. How interesting is that? It is applied externally. The plant is also said to be of use in the treatment of St. Anthony's fire and for bruised kidneys. Bread wheat, Triticum aestibium. The young stems are used in the treatment of biliousness and intoxication. The ash is used to remove skin blemishes. The fruit is antipyretic and sedative. The light grain is antithyrotic. Antithyroidrotic. That's a hard one to say. It is used in the treatment of night sweats and spontaneous sweatings. So that's thyroid issues, essentially. The seed is said to contain sex hormones and has been used in China to promote female fertility. The seed sprouts are antibilious and antivenous and constrictive. They are used in the treatment of malaise, sore throats, thirst, abdominal coldness, spasmic pain, constipation, and cough. The plant has anti-cancer properties. So, wow, you wouldn't think of that as from bread wheat, would you? Oh, common eelgrass, which is Vallisneria spiralis. The plant is aperitif, stimulates the appetite. It's demulcent, refrigerant, stomatic, and also used in the treatment of women's complaints. The plant is used in the treatment of leukorrhea and is made into a tea with sesame to improve the appetite. Indian basket grass is Xerophyllum tenax. The roots are styptic, means it stops bleeding. A poultice of the chewed root has been applied to wounds. A decoction of the grated root has been used as a wash on bleeding wounds, sprains, and broken limbs. The washed roots have been rubbed to make a lather and are used to wash sore eyes. So there you have it. We have literally gone from A to X. And as that X is pronounced like a Z, I'm going to call it from A to Z. And that has covered a huge amount of ground. I hope this one has not totally overwhelmed you. I'm gonna put a link to the notes. I'll just put the notes on the blog and we'll link to that. Um, wow, we learned a lot about grasses today. I know I have a lot to think about, and I've always spoken against lawns and growing useless, as I put it, ornamentals. But apparently, there are a lot of grasses that could be grown. They may not be pretty lawns, but you could grow a lot of them for herbal use, and also a lot of them are edible that I didn't even mention. Like I said, I went through 300 grasses to get to this list of around 40. So y'all have a great week, and stay curious. Boy, you never know what you're going to learn. A little question will just lead you on an adventure of learning. So we'll see you next week. Have a good one. The information in this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or condition. Nothing I say or write has been evaluated or approved by the FDA. I'm not a doctor. The U.S. government does not recognize the practice of herbal medicine, and there is no governing body regulating herbalists. Therefore, I'm really just a guy who studies herbs. I'm not offering any advice. I won't even claim that anything I write or say is accurate or true. I can tell you what herbs have been traditionally used for. I can tell you my own experience and if I believe an herb has helped me. I cannot nor would I tell you to do the same. If you use an herb anyone recommends, you are treating yourself. You take full responsibility for your health. Humans are individuals and no two are identical. What works for me may not work for you. You may have an allergy, a sensitivity, an underlying condition that no one else even shares and you don't even know about. Be careful with your health. By continuing to listen to my podcast or read my blog, you agree to be responsible for yourself, do your own research, make your own choices, and not to blame me for anything ever.